Okay, guys, I am super excited to welcome our next guest to Let's Get Freaky. We are joined tonight with Wild Bill. How are you, sir?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. And how are you tonight?
I'm very well. I'm very well, man. I'm excited to talk to you. Wild Bill, I've got to start, is a cool name, man. Where did Wild Bill come from? It's got to be one of the coolest names out there.
Well, be honest, my daddy gave it to me.
Okay.
It's kind of a family name, if you might say that. And a lot of people think, oh, well, that's a cool nickname. Really, it's not even a nickname. It's a real name. I mean, I've signed legal contracts with that name, so
Yeah,
it's a real name. But where I get my dad, and
that's cool.
it's just kind of stuck with me. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, man. Well, it's a cool name. I don't think there's a cooler name out there, to be honest.
Well, I could probably think of quite a few, but hey, we'll stick with Wild Bill.
Yeah, Wild Bill, man. So are you based in Alabama? Is that correct?
Oh no, 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 no. I'm
Oh,
Georgia.
Georgia. Sorry.
Georgia. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause basically my tromping ground is northeast, well, North Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, all right there together. That's where the Smoky Mountains is. That's where a lot of my people are from and everything from are up around the reservation, around
Okay.
Cherokee, North Carolina. So up on the Smoky Mountains. But that's mainly where I'm from. I mean, now I live near Atlanta, which not too far from North Georgia. I mean, it's not very far, but it's not where I want to be. It's where I'm stuck at right now. But it's a nice place. I live in a place called Covington. So, it's bigger than a wide spot in the road, but it's not Atlanta, which I'm kind of glad. But yeah, that's where I'm from, is down here in this area. Been here all my life pretty much, except for one time I traveled for Uncle Sam, and that was about it.
Okay. Cool. But we was on a show together quite recently with Andy Decode and Nicole. We had a great time. For those that have not listened to Andy Decode yet, his show is every Wednesday and Friday. You need to check it out because we always have a good time. It's live and that's on YouTube. So head over there. And we met for the first time. I thought you was great, man. And I was like, I've got to get you on. Let's get freaky. So I'm glad to have you tonight.
Well, flattery will get you nowhere.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I,
I try to stay humble. I'm not out to win no awards or nothing like that. And
yeah,
I'll be honest, my main goal, I deal with a lot of stuff, and my main goal is to get people to think.
yeah,
I try to get people to use their mind for something besides a hat rack or something like that, and not listen to everything they're being told, and to challenge it, check into it, and prove the other people wrong. So that's
yeah,
really why I'm here for. I'm not out to make no name or try to be bigger than somebody else, or hey, we all got to get along.
yeah, for
you know.
sure. I'd love to get into your paranormal experiences and where your interest with the paranormal started.
Okay, well, be honest, my interest in the paranormal probably I would have to say started with my grandmother on my mother's side. She is full-blooded Cherokee, and she always had me. She took care of me growing up, because back then mothers and dads worked and everything, and instead of going to a nursery or something, my grandma, my mama, as I called her, my mama Paris, she kept me, and always talked about spirits and stuff. And be honest, she was kind of like I guess you might say she was like a medicine woman too, because growing up, uh, I only went to the doctor only because I had to, because like there were certain inoculations I had to have to go to school, this, that. But otherwise, my grandmother treated us, and she used what would they call it now? Holistic medicines now, herbal type stuff. But she would use as we used to call it, Mother Nature. About the only thing that she used that wasn't Mother Nature is every once in a while she would have to get some whiskey and use it. That was for our cough syrup and sore throats, because that was a little bit of whiskey, rock candy, peppermint, honey, and lemon peel. And later on, as I got older, I figured out what that deal was, because when you're younger, you're supposed to take it by a teaspoon. As you got older, you would just sip it out of the bottle, half pint. And I found out as you got older, when you started sipping it out of the bottle, it wasn't so much that it helped cure you. It made it where you just didn't care anymore. You got drunk. But anyway, that's off the story on that one. But anyways, she got me into it, bringing it up because our history is got a lot, is really heavily involved in like the paranormal in many ways. One being spirit energies, two also being spirit animals and other types of spirits, and as people would call them now, cryptids, as in Bigfoot, Skinwalkers, as I say, Winnebagos. It's a name we do not mention, because if you mention the name, it's inviting them in. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or
Yeah,
not.
I know what you're talking about.
It's
Yeah, for
when
sure.
it's, yeah, we call, like I said, we say Winnebago instead of when I can't get that last part out. I'm sorry, it just won't come out. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's also sort of like a skinwalker. The
yeah.
like out west they call them skinwalkers. Kind of basically the same thing. But see, we have all that, and my grandmother, she brought me into that, and so I'd say that I really started getting into it when I was like in my teens. I would maybe say before then, but you really just don't really start understanding stuff until I think around your teens and stuff. So I've been doing it since then, and I'm now 69 years old as of December the 19th, a couple of weeks ago. 69
Oh,
now.
happy birthday, man.
So I've been doing this now for probably over 50 years. I was doing it even before it was cool. I mean, I can still remember going out there with my Radio Shack cassette tape recorder, using it for EVPs, using a Kodak Brownie camera as a camera with the flash bulbs in it and stuff. I mean, just different. I mean, I remember like a dowsing rod, originally dowsing rods, you know? Like I said, I was doing it before it was cool, but like I said, I'm not out to make no name for myself. I could care less. Matter of fact, I'm so into it that I don't even have a team I'm with. I visit teams because I don't do drama, and there's just so much ego and drama out there that it's just like, nah. So what I do is I'll have teams invite me to come along to go someplace with them or to help a place with them, whatever. But that's on another story. But like you're saying, though, what got me into it was my grandmother. And what one part that I really, I mean, we mentioned once before, kind of a brief that what like my favorite part of it would be is, I can't really say I do have a favorite part because they all fascinate me to about the same degree. It really just depends on who I'm talking to, because like you want to talk about UFOs and aliens, I'd really get off on that. You want to talk about cryptids, fantastic. You want to talk about spirits, energies, I'm there with you. You want to just talk about different, I mean, you want to talk about religion openly, not to step on no toes. I'll even go that route. Just won't do politics though. Won't do it.
Yeah.
Because but because over here we ain't got much to deal with over here to be loaded, so I can't say too much without people saying stuff back on me. So hey,
I think it's
anyway,
the same here as well. It's the same everywhere.
but it's I get excited about all of it. I really do, and I think the one thing I really do enjoy though really is helping people out, and I guess that would be more toward on the side of the paranormal of spirits, energies. And a lot of times I don't like using the word ghost unless if I'm talking about paranormal in general, then I might say ghost, simply to draw it away from cryptids, aliens. That way it's more pinpointed. But a lot of times I'll say energies, because basically that's what a quote unquote ghost is an energy.
Yeah.
And so I really like using the word energies more. But as I was saying, though, I really like helping people that's having problems with things like that because I am certified for investigations and that kind of stuff, practical and scientifically. I've got certification papers for both of those. And I've also got it on some other stuff too, which I said we weren't really going to talk about unless brought up. But like I like to do, I'll do house blessings, cleansings, and I say blessings, which is one because I am an ordained priest, so I can do house blessings. I also do house, well, smudgings, if you want to call it. But that's from my Native American belief, but also too, when I say I'm a ordained minister, priest, I am, but down here in the South where I'm at, I will say that I'm not going to say Christian, but I will say I believe in God because I do believe in a God. It is true. But if you was to really look at what mine is, it'd probably be more based toward pagan because it's more from Mother Nature, Mother Earth, Father, Son, the animals, all creatures, great and small, except for the human race. Because, and there again, real quick on that note, I'll say, when asked, what scares you the most? I will tell people real quick, the human race. That scares me more than anything else.
Yeah.
And but anyway, my goal is to help people. And like I was saying, like I've said before and on many other shows, that my goal when I do talk and I do rant, and believe me, I do rant. But if you don't believe me, that's fine. I don't mind. Let's not be bullying about it or just nasty and stuff. I love that because what I want to do is I want to make you think, no, he's wrong. And I'm going to go find out because I will tell anybody if what I say, you can find proof that I am wrong, come tell me. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to fuss. I'll probably say thank you. And at that point, it's like, man, you just changed this old man's mind. I always thought, but now I feel like this. It hasn't happened yet, but I welcome it. I welcome it because most of the stuff I do say, I do have proof. I can back it up. Now, is my proof wrong? That's a different story. Because now over here in the United States, we found out that the history books we have believed in for so many years and everything is actually pretty much everything in our history books is wrong.
Yeah.
So, I'm only going by proof of what I've read or found out, or now the proof I can swear in is the proof that I have obtained personally myself on certain things. Now, on that one, I can say, no, no, no. I know it for a fact because I was there. I got the t-shirt, and I still got the t-shirt. But, I just want people to exercise their brain, go out and look, because when you go out, you find out so many things that you never knew before. And in different things will turn you different ways. But I will tell you this one thing, which yeah, it can be a fun trip, it can be a scary trip, but watch how far you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Because once you go in,
Chasing that rabbit is, I mean, just be ready because you will find all sorts of things out there. But I will tell you this, as far as the paranormal concerned, I am a skeptic believer. The reason why I say that is I am a believer. I do know it's out there. I have seen it. I've witnessed it. But skeptic is the point that basically it's got to come up and slap me in the face for me to believe it. So when somebody tells me something, unless I truthfully know them and believe them, I will take everything with a grain of salt. I'll go, okay, yeah. Show me proof. You can't show me proof in just your word. I've got to know you real good. And if I don't know you, I'm not going to call you a liar. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to go, okay, sure. And leave it at that, until I actually see something, give me proof. Yeah, right. I'm going to write it off as one of those, it's like hearsay type things.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, but gosh, where was I at? Go ahead, ask another question.
So what sort of experiences have you had? What sort of things have you seen and experienced?
I mean, I've heard strange noises, just depending on when, where, what, and all this. But it goes everywhere from from hearing noises, being out on a creek where supposedly there's this thing called the Crompton Booger, which would be like a cryptid, and hearing noises and stuff out in the middle of a field with this creek running through it. Nothing around, no animals, no nothing around, but yet we hear this creature right, like it's on the bank. We're in the middle of the creek, and when I say creek over here, I'm talking about a small river. We were floating down it on logs, but it's a creek, but it's a big creek. But we heard something on the bank that was making noises. And the Crompton Booger, I guess you might say it would be sort of like equivalent to a dog man,
Oh wow.
be like that. So I mean, I've
Wow.
had that experience.
Can I ask you
Uh,
what sort of noises you was hearing? Was it
just
like nothing you've
growling,
heard
just
before?
growling and heavy steps and just I mean, I'm not going to say growling, but grunts and stuff. Not quite to the point of being like a skunk ape or Sasquatch. This is more animalistic, of like a wolf, dog, canine type thing. And because I don't know what y'all call dog man, but over here I'm familiar with dog man being like canine.
Yeah.
Now if I was out west, well, there again, this could be that too. But if I was out west, or there again, it could have been a skinwalker or a Winnebago, because there again, we're back to the animalistic. So it really all just depends. But I've heard that. That's when I was real young. Now that was when that's before I was a teenager. Still knew about the stuff, but wasn't that, it was enough that raised the hairs on the back of my neck. That's when I would still get scared. And then I've heard like being in an abandoned church and hearing singing.
Oh wow.
Just like that. Could have been the air going through the raptors and stuff, making, maybe. But to me, it sounded like singing.
Yeah. Was
Seeing go ahead.
was that like a choir sort of sound, or was that one
Yes,
voice?
which could have, like no words. You could just hear it in the background like a melody. There again, could have been air going through the raptors and stuff, through the attic, all that. Maybe. So what was it positively? Don't know. But I've heard that, which could be, you
Yeah.
know. There was nobody around. It really wasn't that windy and stuff. So, and me being that young, did I really actually try to debunk it at that time? No. So I really can't say, but as far as I was concerned, it was a ghostly noise. Then there's been the time, like I talked about in Marietta, where there's a window pane that has a woman in a bonnet from back in the 1800s, during the Civil War time, 1850s, 60s area, in a dress with the bell sleeves and the bonnet on and everything, for back in that time. Been there forever, and they tried changing the window panes, covering the window, changing the paint of the room, blocking the room off, blocking the window off, and it never left. It was always right there in that one paint, never changed. So that was one. I've been in
What?
that one.
And you saw that? You saw that?
Oh yeah, yeah, many a time. Yeah, I mean, I've even been in the room where it was at, and standing from in the room, you can look outside. And there's nothing in that window pane. You don't see anything. You only see it from outside. Only
Wow.
from outside.
Wow, man.
And that is supposedly she's waiting. They got engaged. He went off to fight in the war, and she's waiting for him to come back. And he's never returned. So she's keeping her promise, and she's waiting right there until he comes back. So
Yeah.
that's that one. I've been to abandoned warehouses down in Atlanta that supposedly are haunted. There was another one down in Atlanta, which it was a factory, a mill, and it has been very well known and had been even documented about certain machines would come on. There was nothing there. It was closed. We had security there just to make sure nobody vandalized the place, but they couldn't keep security there. And I went there one night. I was a supervisor with a protection firm at one time. And I went there and there was rumors. And I say rumors because until I see it, it's rumor that at a certain time, a certain machine would come on. And I'd be doggone if I wasn't making rounds. And all of a sudden, something happened. I turned around and I killed a clock, a time clock. Never did hear the machine turn on, though. Never did. But I killed that daggum time clock. Mm-hmm. That time clock will never punch another hour again. What happened was, as I walked by, it hit the hour, and an alarm ding went off, alarm went off, and I was already edgy. And oh yeah, I killed that time
Yeah.
clock, and I admitted to it too. The next morning, I had to pay for
Yeah.
the time clock. I had to
Oh
pay for it.
man.
Yeah, well, I got in trouble too. I shouldn't have, but anyways,
Yeah.
luckily I was the only person there, and it was more of a laugh than anything. So, but yeah, that was a place like that. I mean, I've had that happen to me, but the machine never came on. But it was been documented that there was a certain machine that would come on in there, and it sat right next door, basically, to probably the most haunted cemetery in Atlanta. It was the oldest cemetery in Atlanta. Guys, right on top of my tongue, Oakland Cemetery, Oakland. Matter of fact, that cemetery is so old that it's segregated. The cemetery is. You're you're Jewish people, you're Jews, they're in one area of it. You're uh, blacks, they're in another area. This is in another area. You're poor in another area. Oh, it's segregated as all get out, but it's haunted. But there's that. I lived in a house that always had me curious. This made me even more curious about stuff. Uh, but matter of fact, well, it had me more. It got me more curious in the dark side. I just leave it at that because of noises that it was and everything, and one house that I lived in, and it was so bad that I would not get up at nighttime unless I really had to,
Wow.
because the attic would never shut completely, and even though I latched it, it would still stay open a couple of inches. And I swear I saw eyes from up in there one night. And the thing is at nighttime, for no reason, you would hear heavy walking that would go around the edge of the house. And the thing is, it wasn't outside, and it was just a one-story house, just a little square house. Nobody's on the roof, but yet in the attic, it's so short right there, nobody could be in there walking because it'd be where the roof comes down to the edge. So it'd only be
Yeah.
just inches tall. Never could figure out what it was. Went up there
Wow.
during the daytime with other people and stuff. Was it an animal? Well, no animal's going to walk that heavy, but we'll go look. There was not even no way for an animal, even a possum, anything to even get in the attic. And like I said, I swear that I saw eyes glaring out of the crack one night. So that scared me. Now, I have been scared a few times, but since then, I've learned some things. And if if you know what you're doing and you follow the rules, you can pretty much control anything. And but in order to do that, though, remember you need one thing: respect. You got to
Yeah.
show respect. But otherwise, you just got to know what you're doing. You got to be careful, and that gets to stuff like when people talk about the talking board. You just got to know the rules. You got to know how to, basically, like the old saying goes, you got to know how to play the game.
Yeah.
If you can't play the game, stay out of it, because you can, if you don't know what you're doing, and you can get a problem, because there are evil spirits out there. I mean, they were mean when they were alive, and when they die, their energies are still mean. You can get attachments. You can get this, you can get that. So you got to be careful. You got to really be careful when you're doing stuff. And if you go out onto an investigation, make sure you know who you're going with, what you're going with, because if they don't know what's going on and they don't know how to do stuff the correct way, you can still get problems because you're with them. You're in the area. So, it's just like it's great. It's enjoyable. All the aspects of paranormal is fun. No matter which way you go, it's a lot of hearsay stuff though, and you gotta go, yeah, but inside that hearsay though, you'll get increments of stuff that is truth. And it's that you got to patch along into other stories and go, well, they said this, and that's sort of like what this is over here.
Yeah.
But here, it's actually bringing it out, saying da 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 da. And you got to be able to give your due diligence into research. So you got to be ready to do a little bit of research. If you don't want to do any research, if you don't want to do research, don't get into it. Watch
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And there again, on the watching TV, for you out there who like the paranormal, do me a favor. When you watch TV and you watch all these programs, remember this. Without TV ratings, they have no show. Without a show, they have no money. The only way that they can get TV ratings is by making things happen. It doesn't happen like that in the true paranormal world. You might go out and have nothing, but that's the way things go. But the thing is, what I was going to say though, is with the TV, and now YouTube's getting about as bad now too. YouTube used to be pretty good, but now people are learning how to fake on it too. And people who are making money off YouTube are starting to learn that the more they fake, the bigger the ratings they get, and the bigger the ratings, the more money they make. So now it's going down the tube kind of also. But take stuff. Excuse me just a second. Let me get me a drink of milk right
Yeah.
here.
That's cool.
What it is, I take a lot of medicines
Yeah. That's
and
cool,
they
man.
get to my throat after a while. But at least I am drinking milk on the show. So that's
Yeah.
I don't drink the hard stuff. I'll go to chocolate milk later.
Yeah.
But that's the hard stuff. But as I was saying though, just take it with a grain of salt. Uh, get it to spike your interest. Maybe like where the place is at. Maybe not what's going on, but where the place is at. Check out the place. Look it up. Find out about the place. Check out the history of it. Stuff like that. But a lot of stuff they do it because they need the money. So uh, watch it for entertainment purposes and to
Yeah.
make you curious. And I will say this one thing. There's a friend of mine out there, and I use the term loosely friend, that makes it seem like there's an evil creature, a demon behind every corner, lurking behind every corner. It's not like that. It doesn't happen. So don't be worried about that. So, in case you go out and go investigating, you ain't got to worry about that. Just, yeah. But just go out and have fun, just enjoy yourself. Um, just, enjoy yourself. Be open minded, be respectful. Don't be a bully. Just if you find out it's not your cup of tea, leave. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Don't drag everything down with it. And if you're out for an ego, to make something of yourself, and you're on an ego trip, don't come around any team I'm visiting with, please. I mean, I'm not going to say, but hey, that's these ego drama kills it quick,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody talks about para unity. I wish we could have it, but it never will happen.
Nah.
At least not with the human
Unfortunately.
race, because with the human race, you've got the deal of ego, drama, wanting to be better than everybody else, want to be number one. I'll be honest, I could care less if anybody knows who my name is, to be honest.
Well, you've got the coolest
Unfortunately,
name, man. So
well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that do know. It's the problem,
it's a cool
but
name.
I mean, a lot of people in the paranormal field know my name. I never really even tried to get it out there, but can. But there is one channel that I do watch, which is pretty true, and it even comes on Roku. He's from the UK actually,
Okay.
and I mean, if you don't mind, I mean, can I plug them?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if you've got a Roku TV, and I don't mean the app, not a Fire Stick with the Roku app. I mean actual Roku TV or the actual Roku stick.
Yeah.
You can go to one of their apps. It's free. Ghost Planet Network, GPN, Ghost Planet Network. It's free.
Okay. I'm
Most
taking
of
a
his
note of that.
stuff, most of his stuff is videos and stuff that has been filmed, recorded, and then put up there. He is now starting to do right now like one live feed a month type thing, but it started with a friend of mine. His name is Neil Packer, and he owns the um HAPRC, Haunted Antique Paranormal Research Center, or
Okay.
now it's called the Paranormal Research Center now, but it's in Hinckley, and he has a lot of artifacts that are real. Let's just put it like that. They are real.
Okay.
But him and Jane. Jane is the medium, and then there's Amy. She's like the third party, the right hand to both of them. And then I think you might know Barry Frankish.
It rings a bell.
Yeah,
I,
he's
I
real.
I am terrible with names, but
Yeah, I
that's
am
my
too. I am too. But anyway, but that if you whether you're in the United States, UK, wherever, now if you want to see some stuff that's not fake, I recommend on taking your Roku TV, getting the Ghost Planet Network app. It is free. And once you get on there, you do not have to pay for none of the shows or nothing. It's there.
oh
And just watch some of those. They're really good.
yeah, I'll check that
He's
out.
got a variety of different shows on there and everything. So, but there again, I am the ambassador to the United States for HAPRC. So,
Oh,
I was dealing with them when they first started.
okay.
And that was well before the COVID. So, I've been around, I've been dealing with Neil and them for now 5, 6 years now. Because
Cool.
right before I met him, he was working out of his garage.
Oh
But
wow.
he's a real good person. That would be a good person to have on your feed if he would come on. Now he is
Yeah.
really good. He's done a few books, written a few books and everything. Everybody keeps trying to get me to write a book, and it's like, no,
Do it,
I
man.
don't. I don't want to write no book. And they said, well, get somebody to write it for you. You just tell them and let them write it. It's like, uh,
Or you could even do it like you're doing this and tell your story and audio book. I think that's a
well, yeah, I could probably do that speak the spell thing, and just have it go to my documents and just say it and let it write
yeah.
it down as it's going along. But Thing is, though, what would I want to write it on? Because I've got people who want me to write it on when I had a barber shop down in Atlanta. My experiences down there in downtown Atlanta, my experiences during the time that the Atlanta Olympics was there. Um, some of the stories I have about down there, some of my stories about energies, paranormal energies, conspiracy theories. I mean, there's so
I
much
love it
different
all.
stuff. I mean,
Love
I
it
do
all, man.
too. And like, that's one reason why I'm not writing one, because like, where do I start?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and then with the way my mind travels, I would be writing a book about one thing and then finishing it up about something else. And that would just totally, now there'd probably be a few people out there who would collect the books just because of that reason, you know. But other ones would sit there and go, do what? Halfway through the book, he changes subjects. What the heck? And it's like, you don't understand. That's Wild Bill.
Yeah, that's how Wild Bill works, man.
Halfway through, it's all, you start here and you wind up there. And it's like, how did we get there? And it's like, don't even ask.
Doesn't matter. We made it.
And that's where that rabbit hole comes in sometimes. It just depends on which way do I go, to how far do we go down that rabbit hole, you know?
Yeah,
But on the paranormal side though, that's pretty much it. And then like I do have a couple of bucket lists like I want to do, which I'll tell that. One is
yeah,
the one of them I want to do is the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. I want to do that one.
yeah.
The other one I would like to do is the Strawberry River Ranch B&B, which is a B&B next door, joining the property of Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh wow.
And they themselves even have some things going on at their place, which is having to do with Native American, with the actual Skinwalkers. And the thing is, though, from their B&B, you can see the ridge. You can see Skinwalker Ridge, where all that stuff takes place. So you can still see the flying saucers and all that other kind of stuff. And that's the
Wow.
two things on my bucket list I would love to do.
Yeah, man.
I'd love to go to those two
The
places.
Skinwalker Ranch, I mean, that whole area, you've got the ranch itself, but then that whole area surrounding it is just full of high strangeness, isn't it?
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just because, well, what it was is one of the tribes what it was, there was two tribes out there, the Utes and the oh God, Navajo, maybe. I'd have to go back and check. But I know one of them was the Utes. I know that for a fact was the Utes. But anyway, I think what it was is Uncle Sam came in, the Bluecoats. Came in and was chasing all the Native Americans off property, you know, wanting their land and everything and doing all that. And one of them joined team sides with Uncle Sam. And in doing so, the other tribe nation, they put a curse on the land and all that. So that's supposedly is what all that has to do with the Skinwalker. But now that's the Skinwalker. That's not even talking about the UFO stuff now.
Yeah.
That's even completely different. I mean, but you know, it's just it's just
Do you think it's all connected? UFO, skinwalkers, all the high strangeness. Do you think it's all connected somehow?
no, we're talking different creatures. I mean, aliens, UFOs, we're talking intelligent beings from another planet, from inside the universe. To me, cryptids, the ones like we're talking about, skinwalkers, Bigfoot, all those are from this plane, from this earth. And they talk about being interdimensional. I wouldn't say interdimensional. I would say more of inner earth
Okay.
is where they are from, because it's been proven there's caves and tunnelways that will connect this whole earth together.
Yes. Yeah.
Admiral Byrd even told about a continent inside the earth. with its own sun, its own atmosphere, its own everything. There's the Anasazi Indians, the Anasazis, not to be confused with the Anunnakis. You know, the Anunnakis are the giants. That was the, for Christian sake, we'll say the fallen angels was the Anunnakis. The Anunnakis were they were the product of the way I would say it would be aliens and the humanoids. And that's where they come from. But the Anasazis, though, was a race of Native Americans, and I hate using that word too, Native Americans, but they weren't indigenous either, because their story states that one time, back in a long time ago, they arrived on the surface, being from Middle Earth. And when you go to where the Anasazis live, you will see these big pits in the ground called kivas. And in the middle of the kiva is a hole, deep hole, and you just don't know how far it goes. I mean, you try to figure out how far it goes, you can't do it. It just keeps going and going and going. And the saying is that what happened was the Anasazis were around, they prospered and everything, and they were doing good. Then the white man came along. Thank you, white man. And they were here, and then all of a sudden one day they were just gone. Everything of theirs was just gone. It was like they were never here. And the story says what it is that they came to the surface because of the tyranny they were receiving in Middle Earth. But then when they came to the surface and the white man came along, and seeing the byproducts of him, they determined that the tyranny in Middle Earth was nowhere as great or as bad as what it was there. So they returned to Middle Earth. Now, I'm a firm believer that there is Middle Earth and that there is connection, because I don't care. It's like they're all the same thing. It just depends on where you go is what it's called. But like Bigfoot, I mean, you've got down in the areas down in the southeast down here, we got a skunk ape. That's a Bigfoot, but he lives in a swamp and he stinks. You've got Bigfoot, you've got Sasquatch, you've got the Yeti. I mean, it's just like the human race. You've got, each one of us is not a separate entity, a separate thing. We're all humans, but we're different due to where we're from, the environment, whatever. That's the reason why the Yeti is white, because he's in the Appalachians. He's in the Appalachians. That's where I'm from, the Appalachians. That's not big, but the Himalayas, and stuff like that. And it's snow up there, so his counterpart color or camouflage color is going to be white. It's just like the foxes and wolves up there. They're white.
Yep.
The rabbits, I mean, they might be brown during the summer, but during the wintertime, they're white. And where the Yeti supposedly lives, it stays snow all the time, so he would stay white all the time. Up in Washington, up in the northwest corner of up there, you're going to see dark brown to black, almost ape color. That would go with their forest up there. Down here, we're going to have black, almost kind of a greenish, mossy looking stuff. That's good, because down here in the southeast, we've got a lot of swamps. And, it just all goes basically to where the environment is. That's how they look. But I feel like they all interconnect through Middle Earth. And now, I do really find fun in the flat Earth theory. I really do. And I see a lot of possibilities of it. I see more possibilities in the flat Earth theory than I do the globe theory. But me, I think of the Earth more like a American football.
Okay. Yeah.
American football, a rugby ball, elliptical. It's more elliptical, almost flat, but it's got substance in the middle. So even at a long distance, it would still look kind of flat. If done in photography, it would still be flatter than what the globe theory is. And it being an elliptical, kind of a foosball type. I mean, not foosball because that's actually round. That'd be a soccer ball, but football, American football or rugby ball,
Yeah.
you would have up and bottom that way because Australia always says, Southern Hemisphere, down under. They would be actually down under compared to what would be up above. And there again, it also makes you think of the old saying, as above, so below.
Yeah.
See, my mind works in different ways. The things that lead me into different things, like, okay.
Yeah.
Because as above, so below can also then lead you into the mystic arts of anywhere from even the so-called governing powers, as in like, oh, let's throw the name out there, the Illuminati, the Masons, bunch of different people. They all practice as above, so below. So does your pagans. So did your Wicca. So a lot of people use that. So I mean, there's a lot to that, as above, so below, because you're going to have, because it also gets to the deal about, well, how can there be evil? Well, how can there be good?
Yeah.
You cannot have one without the other.
You've got to have
Without
both.
one, how would you know the other? So it's kind of a mirrored image of itself.
Yeah. You see,
But anyways,
it's so interesting with the Middle Earth. I find that fascinating. Do you think that me and you, for example, could get there? Do you think that's possible?
well, if we were allowed to the openings that are actually known, if we were actually allowed to get to those, or to find one like on on the earth, could we get there? Yeah, we could get there. Now, and the thing is though, we could get there. The question is would we be able to return?
Yeah.
That's the question. And the reason why I say that is because Bird enough confirmed that there was a Middle Earth, but just nobody wants to believe it, and so be it. So at that point, that's the way Middle Earthers want it to be. They don't want the topsiders to know because they don't want the problems down there. So that's the reason why I like it. Could we get down there? Yeah, we could get down there. But would we be able to return? I doubt it. And you know what kind of the deal about going to Middle Earth? You know what movie always interests me that kind of struck me as being that way? The old Jules Verne's, I mean, not Jules Verne, but the old Journey to the Center of the Earth, the movie Journey to
I've,
the Center of the Earth.
I've not seen it, man.
Oh, it's
I need
great.
I need to
Now
see
the
it.
new one. Now there's a new one that has the Journey to the Center of the Sky. As that comedian, he also played in The Mummy. That's not the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about was back from the 60s, maybe 1960s, back in that time. Journey to the Center of the Earth. It's really good.
I need to
Because
check
it
that
shows
out.
up a Middle Earth with its own sun and everything else, and its own ocean even. But yeah, because I mean they've even proven that under Antarctica about that ocean that's just so. I mean, it's bigger than any of our oceans that we know of on the surface.
Yeah.
It's like wow. But yeah,
Yeah.
could we get there? Yeah, I believe we could get there. But could we come back? I don't know because the main entrance is one. The main one is well, Arctic and Antarctic. And the Antarctic, you can't get on the Antarctic unless your government or something like that. And the Arctic, pretty much it's so hard to get there. It's pretty much impractical where the two big holes are. But if you go on Google Earth and you try to check it out, you'll see where I'm talking about, because you see these big dark holes, these big dark areas. That is supposedly, you got one in the North Pole, one in the South Pole, or one on Antarctica, one Arctic. And supposedly those are two main entrances that go into Middle Earth. Plus, also too, they also talk about all these caves and stuff, like where the lizard people came from, the ant people came from, all that in the Mag culture, the Native American culture. Those are also supposedly passageways to Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Those are also passageways.
That's
So
what we was talking about on Andy's show, because I'd never heard about the ant people. and I was like
They
fascinated with
were.
that. Could you share a little bit
Well,
about that with us?
well, the ant people, that was the ones that during the last cataclysmic flood, they're the ones who came up and took the Native Americans below ground so that they could survive the flood. And basically, I mean, all I was ever taught about them is that they were intelligent creatures. They had like they could speak to you, but would it be like telepathic or whatever? It was not really. My grandmother really couldn't say, but she said the reason why they were called because they looked like ants, and they live underground in tunnels, like an ant hill, like an ant bed, and that was one of the reasons why they were called the ant people. You know, and she says they were short people, but there again, for her to say short, they had to be really short because she was like, maybe right at 5 foot.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That's when that's before her scoliosis set in and she became 4'8" after her back curve. But yeah,
So
uh,
are they like a humanoid, a different type of humanoid?
she, see, I'm having to recollect, see, because I'll be honest, I really haven't really studied. I only go by what my grandmother told me because as far as reading about it and stuff, you don't, it's like reading about the lizard people. You get so many different conflicting stories and stuff.
Yeah.
She just like, they were just like, she didn't say like that. I mean, for her to say human time, I mean, we're also talking about when she brought me up, we were talking about this was back in the late 50s and early 60s and stuff when we talk about this. So a lot of these words now really weren't used back then. But basically they weren't human. I mean, they were like insects, like ants. They looked like ants, but they could they could communicate with the Native Americans. And how that was done, basically, what she made it sound was is that basically it was through mental type stuff,
Yeah.
brain to
Yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
yeah, telepathy, yeah. But
Interesting.
that's pretty much about how that's pretty much all I knew about them, and that you know basically I asked like where can I see one, and she goes, well, you don't see them, they see you. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like that's basically it. But then that's she told me about that was about the only one. As far as lizard people, you hear more about them out west. Over here in our area, it wasn't that much about lizard people. Over here, it was more about ant people and stuff like that. We the other type of cryptids over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ant people basically saved the Native American race. That's what I was told
Interesting.
during the last flood. And then, but they were. She did make it sound like they were interstellar. They were aliens. Let's put it like that. They were from here. They had basically like their living conditions and stuff. But because she always tied them in with what would I guess you might call like a Stargate,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
They can come in and out of our
well, see, she's not around anymore. So I mean, I wished I see back then. This wasn't that big of a thing. Back then, if us having this discussion right here would be enough to have us locked away. That we're Looney Tunes. But there again, thankfully, everybody who knows me knows I am. So, hey, it don't bother me much
and
anymore.
me. And me, man.
They just kind of now people when it's Wild Bill, never mind, don't worry about it. We don't care. You have to say anything, It's like, okay, cool, cool, They kind of leave me alone now because I've done proven like, whatever.
Yeah, that's
I've
it.
lost it. I've gone off the deep end. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. You know. But
Did 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 anyone in your family see any of these creatures, experience any of these creatures?
I don't know. As far as seeing, I don't. Uh, well, now there again, depends on what you're saying. I have seen my spirit animal,
Really?
but that was during a ceremony.
Can you share a bit about
So
that with us?
I did a. That's another story altogether. That's a story for another time.
Okay, we'll save that one.
That's a story from another time
We'll save that one.
because that's more getting into religion.
Okay.
That one is. But now my grandmother, my mama Paris, she's seen things. Whether or not it'd be like the cryptids or energies or what, I don't know. But I know she's seen shadow people. I know she has said she has seen death. You know, and as it be, if it being the hooded figure with the saya, I don't know. But she has said though that she has seen death
Wow.
and stuff like that. So, just I know there's things she's told me she's seen, but like I said, back then, it just wasn't really something you dwelled on because people would think you were sick. Because believe it or not, me and her, the stuff we talked about and stuff only stayed between me and her. It was not discussed in open family with the other people,
Yeah.
like her son, who was my adopted dad, her son, and then his wife. And then they later on had two girls. Stuff wasn't mentioned around them about it. But there again, they weren't part of either. Because my adopted dad, that was his mother, but his dad was German. Now my real father, he was full-blooded Cherokee. So of course at that point, my grandfather on my dad's side is full-blooded Cherokee to him being. So I was more Native American than they were. And that made me closer to my grandmother.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
made me closer to her. And
Yeah.
there was things we did and things we understood that the others didn't. And there was little things that we had to ourselves that the others weren't invited in on, type thing, which sometimes I think maybe made my cousins, half sisters, whatever you want to call it, adopted sisters, jealous sometimes. But yeah, but my mama, she took care of me. I mean, it was there again. That's a whole different story. See, writing a book. There's so many things I could
Yeah.
write
You got to do it, man.
because there's that part. I mean, for instance, like I was adopted when I was 6 months old, but yet didn't go through adoption until after I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
But yet, I went to school, got a driver's license, everything, even joined the military under a name that wasn't even my last name.
Wow.
That just goes to show you the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
My adopted mom was able to get me in school, where over here you have to have birth certificates, shot certificates. In order to get the vaccinations, you got to have birth certificate. I mean, birth certificate has got to be used on everything, even driver's license. To get driver's license, even to join the military, you got to have your birth certificate. I did not have a birth certificate with my last name on it. There was no birth certificate.
Wow.
So see, I could write a book on that.
Yeah, man.
There's all sorts of weird stuff I could
Yeah.
write about, though.
Yeah, for
It just,
sure.
I could almost have a 5-book library. No, a box set.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to do it, man. You got to do it. Or an audio book. Audio book. Either way, you got to do it. Another cryptid that really fascinates me is the little people. Or is it a cryptid? I don't know, but it's the little
What do we
people.
talk about little people? See, over here we don't have little people. See, that's a UK thing.
Okay.
Darby O'Gill and the little people and stuff. Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have leprechauns and stuff over here. We don't have that.
No.
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 Uh-uh.
Have you heard of the Pukwudgie?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's sort of
Well, that's over here in the United States. Well, supposedly that's over here in the United States, up in the northern part
yeah.
of the United States. Yeah, my buddy Jack brought me in on those. Papwagi, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that them
They're like
fascinating.
little they're
Mischievous creatures.
like gnomes, trolls, fairies.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I mean it's like you can't really pinpoint what is it. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of like a troll, but yet sort of like a gnome, but they're mischievous like a fairy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, what does it look like? Well, it's kind of ugly, but yet it kind of this. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've heard about them. Yeah, I've heard
I'll
about
give you someone to check out. Check out Exploring with Phil on YouTube. He looks into a lot of the Pukwudgie.
I think I've subscribed to him.
Oh, cool. Oh,
I think I'm already subscribed
that's
to him.
it. Yeah, he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome,
That's what I'm
man.
thinking, because there's a lot of the YouTube things I'm subscribed to that like things that you would never expect to see, stuff that scientists have found and they can't explain.
Yeah.
Yeah, unexplored places that you should never go, and just oh, believe me, my YouTube account, my YouTube subscription. I mean, nobody visits it because they care. I don't really produce nothing, but what I follow and stuff is just a lot of that stuff. And
Yeah, same, man. Same.
yeah,
I'm sure ours are
Exploring
very
with Phil,
similar.
Exploring with Phil. So yeah, I think that name sounds so familiar. I know it's on my list.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
cool guy. Yeah. He's a cool guy. I want to go back to your thoughts on Sasquatch and Bigfoot. And you think that they possibly are coming from Middle Earth. Do you think they're a flesh and blood creature?
Yes. Don't you just love that one? Somebody, yes. Next
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Next question. But anyway, but yeah. I really do. They're just there's too many things out there. There's too much proof out there to show that they're not flesh and
yeah.
blood. Now if you want to get from one that asks me, do I believe? That's when we'd go against Champ, Nessie, and stuff like that. But as far as Bigfoot's concerned, yeah, I believe there's a creature out there. And I'm not going to say he's interdimensional. I just think he's smart enough that he knows to stay in the areas where man is not.
Yeah.
He knows what man can do and how he destroys stuff. And like I said, with the cave system that is out there with all the tunnels and stuff, it can know where to live and not have no problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
And with the type of creature it is, it would live off the earth, which nature is bountiful. I mean, the indigenous here, the Native Americans here, that's what they did. They lived off the earth, and hey, they can do it. Why couldn't Sasquatch do it?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I definitely believe, but I definitely believe that they are flesh and blood and that they are real. I really do. And
Yeah.
no, they're not a big bear walking on his hind legs, because even at that point, its arms, the front legs are not, the front legs aren't as long as what the arms of a Sasquatch is. So that's unmistakable. An
Yeah.
ape, I don't know of any ape over the United States, to be honest. There might have been one to get loose and stuff, but we're talking one maybe. So what about all these other ones? So that doesn't hold true. So that can't be it. But yeah, so at that point, I have to say, yeah, I do believe Sasquatch is real. I mean, it's just been seen too many times. I mean,
Yeah.
and especially lately. And like I say, thank God for the cell phone.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, there's been so many pictures taken and stuff now that explain stuff differently than what we ever believed before. And a couple of them have been Sasquatch, this dark shadow looming in the woods type things. Okay, fine, but because of the way it is and everything, you can tell it's not a bear. Plus, also, too, a bear's not going to walk on his hind haunches for that long of a time to go from one place to another. It's going to finally hit the ground and go on all fours.
Yeah.
The easiest way for it to travel. Whereas a Bigfoot will travel hundreds and hundreds of yards just on its back legs. A bear would not do that, you know. So yeah, there's just too many things to prove that to prove that yes, it is real.
Yeah.
You know, it's real, you know, and man's not going to be happy until he can get one and dissect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
gotta
mean,
love,
some say we already have, you know.
yeah,
That's another.
gotta love the human race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gotta love
Yeah. With
it.
you said about UFOs. Have you had any experiences with UFOs?
Yeah. I can be just like everybody else and say, yeah, I've seen a UFO, an unified flying object. That's what it is. There's been many times I've seen stuff that, okay, I don't know what it is. It don't look like an airplane. It's not, it's not acting like one. So to me, it's a UFO. It's an unified flying object. Now, it could have been an airplane, could have been a weather balloon, could have been anything, but to me, it was a UFO. But have I actually experienced any UFOs like we see stuff about and everything? Only what I have seen on film and stuff, to be honest. Have I visually ever seen one? Not that I could truthfully say was a UFO. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
but there again, I'm one of these type people. Well, one, I try not to lie. I never lie because it's too hard to cover up. I mean, you got to remember, who did you tell it to? What did you tell them? So what I do is I tell people, I'm not a baker. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I just tell how I know it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Come back and you ask me 3 years from now about it, I'm going to give you the same exact story word for word because I'm not going to change it. This is how I know it. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the truth. But UFOs, have I seen? I mean, I might have actually seen one, but I'm not going to claim it because I don't have the proof that yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so recently, the only things I've seen is what I've seen YouTube, these other places. I do know of some information, but there again, that's another story altogether too, and another one for another time, because that dwells into pairs like Area 51 and S4 and some places like that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So there again, that's another completely different ball of wax.
That's another episode.
But yeah, that's still in the paranormal though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there again,
100%.
that goes into the conspiracy parts of it, and just
Yeah.
I
But
mean, see, that's why I get paranormal. A lot of people think paranormal only has to do with, as I said before, ghost, but it don't. Paranormal is paranormal is anything that cannot be explained.
yeah, 100%.
That's basically what paranormal is. Anything that cannot be explained.
Yeah. And it does lead you down the
Rabbit
roots,
hole. Oh yeah,
conspiracy, rabbit hole. Yeah,
it takes
100%.
you straight down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
All the way down to yeah.
And it's fascinating, man. I love it.
Sometimes it's well, it depends on which rabbit hole you take
Yeah, it can be a lot.
and
It
who
can,
your guide is.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Traveling around with the Mad Hatter can be pretty trippy,
Yeah. For sure.
you know. And then March Hare, he's kind of weird, you know. But trying to keep up with the White Rabbit though, that's the one that'll tire you out sometimes.
Yeah.
That will.
Yeah.
Well, sir, you know, if
Yeah. Well, Bill, this has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show tonight, man. Hopefully, the first of many conversations. I'd love to have you back on because I think there's a lot more we can talk about. But thank you very much, sir. If you can tell the audience where they can find you.
well, probably about the easiest place to find me is probably go on Facebook. I don't do too much. I mean, I'm on other platforms, but it's as a guest to other people. But with me, if you just want to see some of my rantings and ravings and posts, you can find me on Facebook, Wild Bill, or the Reverend Wild Bill. Fairly easy to find. My avatar is me with my dog collar on. So that's easy to find. And if you ever have any questions or anything that I may help you with, feel free to hit me up in Messenger. Just tell me, say, hey, look, I'm so and so. I saw you through such and such. Otherwise, if you just come through, I might not know who you are. I might not respond. But if you kind of let me know what it is and what the message is and that kind of what the text context is, I'd be glad to help you. And if there's anything, if you're in the Atlanta area and I can help you with anything, we shall talk. If you're somewhere else, I do know enough people that I personally might not be able to help you, but I would be able to turn you on to somebody who could help you. So on that one, like I said, you just get me on Facebook and hit me up that way. And yeah, that's about the easiest way to get a hold of me. About the easiest
Awesome.
way.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to the books and the audio books, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you very much, sir. It's been an
Well,
absolute pleasure.
it's been my pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I do look forward to maybe a little session and we can talk about something again.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot more we can talk about, man.
I'm game. I'm game. And so happens this time that your show it's perfect for me because I have nothing going on the rest of the evening except for, well, I do have something coming up right now in a few minutes, but usually never.
Yeah,
So,
awesome. Awesome, man. Well, I look
but
forward to the next.
we've been going for a little over an hour now, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a great show, man. I'm super excited to put it out and look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you, sir.
Wild Bill, thank you very much.